Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Village of Ruidoso workshop meeting. It's June 1st. It's 8 a.m. or very close to 8 a.m. If you'll join me for a moment of silence and then in the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand. Pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag of the state of New Mexico, to see a symbol of perfect friendship among united cultures.
All right, thank you, everybody. I hope everybody had a wonderful Memorial Day weekend. I think we're back. The track was full, the town was full, so we didn't get any big emergency calls, so I think things went relatively smooth. And so we appreciate you being here today. We'll get right in it. Roll call, please, Mr. Santa.
Mayor Crawford.
Here.
Councilor Salas.
Here.
Councilor Letterman.
Here.
Councilor Eby.
Here.
Councilor Cornelius.
Here.
Councilor Coughlin.
Here.
Councilor Jackson.
Here.
We have a quorum, Mayor.
All right, we'll get on it. First agenda item is discussion on a memorandum of understanding between the Village of Ruidoso, the County of Lincoln, County Emergency Services, City of Ruidoso Downs, and the Mescalero Apache Tribe for exchange of fire protection and rescue response. Yes, Chief Thetford.
Yes, sir. Morning, Mayor, council members. This MOU between us, like the mayor said, the county, Ruidoso Downs, and Mescalero Fire is a bit of an update. We've always had agreements, but they've always been separate. So we tried to pull everyone together on the same MOU to make sure we're all seeing and hearing the same things. And I've had word since last week that Mescalero did have theirs passed, and I believe the county and the Downs will have it this week, or I think Tuesday when they have their meeting.
Okay. Comments? Questions? Okay. Thank you. We'll go on the consent.
Yes.
And just to remind everybody, it's a workshop, so there won't be any decisions made here today. Item number 2 is discussion on resolution 2021-24. A resolution of financial support and funding commitment to the Ruidoso Main Street Association for fiscal year 2021-2022 in the amount of $35,000.
Good morning, Mayor. This is our contribution that we're required by the New Mexico Main Street Association. It's in our biannual agreement that we entered last year. And for a community our size, $35,000 is the minimum amount. This is tied to the professional service agreement that will be our next agenda item. I do know that RMA will be coming before internal finance to request an additional $5,000 this year. I'll be inviting them to the regular meeting. Matt and Kendra King, she's going to be their new president, and they've had a few board members step down.
Okay. Does Councilor Coughlin have any other questions?
I'll hold them for the next item.
Okay. All right. Any questions on this? Regular? Item number 3, discussion on professional services agreement with the Ruidoso Midtown Association to promote the Midtown District in the Village of Ruidoso.
Mayor, this is the professional service agreement detailing their scope of what they should be doing for the next fiscal year.
So should be doing. There's a difference between should be and is doing. I'm not seeing a whole lot, excuse me, out of the Midtown Association. I know in here one of the things said something about maintaining a social media presence. And last night I went through their Facebook page, and it seems like for the last couple of months, the only posts, and there's only been a few, have been dealing with the sidewalk replacement project, which isn't a Midtown Association project. So I really don't know what they're doing, or if they're living up to their part of the agreement. I understand we have to put it in there so that we get the Midtown designation, but the Main Street designation, but I just don't see things are happening the way that they should be. And now to hear that they're asking for additional money, yeah, I'm not too sure.
Councilor Cornelius?
Well, I'm not sure exactly what they're doing either, but in fairness to them, they haven't been able to do much. They haven't been able to have their Ruidoso or their barbecue, any of the things that were in the park that were their fundraising projects for last year or 2 years ago, they just haven't been able to do. So,
No, the events they haven't, but during this past year, they haven't been out there really pushing the Midtown district much for, I mean, look at even though we were in a pandemic and things were kind of shut down, Midtown did pretty well overall. I mean, there were still a lot of people coming to town and in there. But part of it is promoting, and we've been, I don't know, how long have they been in effect now? The Midtown Association, 3 years, maybe?
More than that.
More than that. And since the beginning, they've been talking about creating a membership, and they haven't done anything on that. It's like, well, we're looking into it. We're working on it, want to create a membership, and they haven't done anything. So I'm not seeing any efforts being done, not just this last year, but overall with promises that have been made. And to be honest with you, when the presentations are done, the majority of those items that are coming up on that presentation are all things from other departments that are being done, and it seems like they're trying to take credit for it.
Do you have any comments here?
I do not, but I will invite Matt, the director,
And Kendra?
and Kendra,
Yeah,
the
she'll be
new
there this
incoming
year.
president.
I know
So
she's a big volunteer, but maybe if we doubled their salary, Councilor Coughlin, it would help them.
Can we also, since I won't be here for the actual meeting, I'll be attending by phone, can we get the presentation ahead of time so I can
Yeah.
look at it?
I'll do.
Because typically we get it that day.
Okay. All right, so we'll have this one on regular.
Yep.
So should we have this one before the previous, or leave it in the same order?
That's a good question.
35,000.
You can handle both of them at the same
Same
time.
time. Okay, we'll do that. Okay. Item number 4, excuse me. Discussion on Resolution 2021-25, a resolution authorizing the participation in the Transportation Project Fund program administered by the New Mexico Department of Transportation.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a grant that we are working on submitting to DOT. We've had a review by Luis Mata, and we have had the project signed off of support by District 2 Engineer Francisco Sanchez. We're working in partnership with the county to accomplish one of the roads, which is Gavilan Canyon Road from the intersection of Highway 70 to New Mexico 48. So the entire duration is 6.55 miles. We're also proposing to do 0.9 miles on Warrior Drive and 1.9 miles of Paradise Canyon Road. This will be a Cutler project. They'll go in and mill up the road and lay back down the asphalt. Our portion is a 5% match, so we'll be putting $100,000 towards this project, and the county will be adding $75,000 to this project. In total, the cost is $3.5 million.
Okay. And most of this comes from like Close Road, Bridge area, to like the school? And then how far up does it go? You know, the Warrior Drive turnoff, where does it go after that? Do you know our boundaries?
Oh, our boundaries, it's so checkerboarded. I don't have an exact,
So it's
I
up,
don't know
back
if
and
Adam wants-
forth?
Yeah, it's back and forth throughout.
Okay.
They did base the match off of, you know, what belongs to us, what belongs to them.
Okay.
In addition, we'll be repairing the manholes, so we have 50 of those also on Gavilan Canyon Road.
Okay.
Wow.
I just had a question, the way it was written. As I looked at item B and C on the resolution, 5% of the total, which was 3.5 mil, was the 175,000. Then it says under B that the village's match will be 5% or 100,000. It's not quite right. And then the county of Lincoln's proportional match will be 5% of, not or, 75,000. So kind of explain the math to me.
We broke up the match as fair as we thought possible.
Well, I understand the
Do you know what he's
percentages,
asking?
but the way it's worded, it doesn't read that way.
I think it's the word.
Counselor, I think we just need to reword that.
Yeah,
It's a total of 5% match.
correct. And then it's divided between the county and,
Right.
but I think
I'll
that's
reword
fine.
that because you confused me.
No, I mean, I get it. I just think that it should be more clearly stated because when you read it, it doesn't read right.
Yeah, the county only does 5% of 75,000, so that's 3,750.
No, theirs is 75, so I'll have to
No,
correct.
but it
The way
says
it's written.
5%
Oh,
of
not-
Oh,
75,000.
okay. Yeah, that's wrong.
So according to this, if the county wants to be a stickler, they go, well, here's $3,750, we're good.
Thank you very much for playing.
Thank you.
They have already given us a letter of support and commitment for the 75.
No, I think it's just editorial and corrective, but it just needs to be cleaned up a bit.
I'll get it
We
straightened out.
also got a letter of support from the schools as well.
Oh, I'll bet.
Just for, clarification, we're not repairing the manholes, it's just a manhole adjustment. So, as you go in and you add the pavement, they're gonna lift up
You don't
each one
fall
of the
in.
manholes.
Okay, we good?
And if you want to know why that's important, drive down through Tularosa.
And so we want this one on regular item to discuss it, or you want to?
I think so we can provide clarification on that, Mayor, I'd recommend that we do put it on regular.
Is that right? Okay,
Do you know when the anticipated date of this beginning is?
No, we have a SERPTO meeting next week, and that's when we'll score and rank all of the projects here in the southeast. And then after that meeting, they'll go to DOT for final selection.
Okay.
well, we're hoping for Labor Day weekend, it's when we, really pushing for that.
But toward
Mayor,
the
I
end of
believe
Labor Day week.
Ron has some information.
Mayor Crawford, Councilor Coughlin, I'm think they're anticipating August, September award in August, the projects statewide, and then at the commission meeting, when they have the Highway Commission, then grant agreements would be coming out after September, so.
And Mayor, in addition, Ron, I think, we did talk with Cutler already, because, you gotta wait till they're in the area. And so we've already been in communication with them as well.
We
So
still
What are
need,
they looking at, Ron?
We're looking at early spring of next year to do the work. It's a single pass, so we're looking at possibly maybe a month for the duration of the project if we're funded, so.
so that basically Gavin Canyon will be out of business.
They do it quickly. Their process, the Cutler process, is a single pass heater scarification, so once they go through that area, you can drive right over it soon afterwards, so it just depends on of course, they have traffic control, and
So it'll be one pass, one way, one pass the other way.
usually that's the way they work, yes.
And they'll stop traffic to, let you go
Yes.
around all the equipment and stuff like that.
We'll have to have a traffic control plan and all that in place, so.
I think what he means about one pass is it's a train that they scarify it, they pull it up, recycle it back in, put rejuvenating, and then lay it back down all at the same time.
Okay,
So,
all right. Sounds good. All right, so we'll have that one on the regular item. Item number 5 is it, yep. Item number 5, discussion on resolution 2021-26, a resolution authorizing Public Employee Retirement Association, Pera, pickup for municipal general member contributions municipal fire member contributions, and municipal police member contributions. And here to explain is Judy Starkovich.
Good morning, Mayor, councilors. This resolution came about when we were adopting and seeing what the effects of SB 72 were going to be on our Pera contributions this year. And we noticed that the last resolution that was passed was in 2003. And in the actual resolution, it gave PER contribution rates that are no longer in effect. However, we had always been applying the 4.4% pickup to all our employees in regular police and fire. So all this resolution does is fix the terminology to say that we will continue the 4.4% pickup, but without listing out any contribution rates, because we know over the next 5 years, those rates will be changing every year. So there's no sense in putting any rates and having to come back to the resolution every year. So this is just streamlining the policy into practice.
So, but to be able to implement if the rates change, what's the process for that?
So as long as we continue to pick up the 4.4%, we'll just apply the new membership rates, the contributions both on the employee and the employer. And I did include a little graph in the agenda packet that shows how they will be increasing over the next 5 years, unless it goes to legislature and it changes.
So this is something we have no control over.
The PERA rate, contribution rates, no.
So once again, elections have consequences.
It's because the state wasn't putting in enough money, so now they're coming to us and saying, oops, we screwed up, you pay for it.
So go ahead and keep electing those morons out there, people, and this is what you get. So you want this one on consent? Or do you want to talk about it?
Consent.
It won't do us any good to talk about morons.
Morons? What do you think we are, a bunch of morons?
We need
Item
less-
number 6.
We need less Rons.
Number 6, discussion on agreement with Hub International Insurance Services, Inc. for professional insured broker services. Yes, ma'am.
This is the actual agreement. As you recall, we awarded the RFP, I believe, last month. And this is just the agreement coming back to you. Currently, Hub, we don't pay them direct. They actually are paid off by the insurance carrier based on a percentage. So technically, we still do an agreement just because we want them here for enrollment and we want them to have a presence throughout the year to help employees with claims or questions and stuff. So if we, in the future, change to insurance provider that doesn't do a premium commission payoff, then we'll have to go back and negotiate with Hub over the fee.
I don't know of too many of those that don't have a fee, but anyway, we did a big review on it, and I think they've been doing a really good job. Consent?
Consent.
Okay, item number 7. Discussion on resolution 2021-27, a resolution authorizing disposal of surplus property. And this is Mr. Griego.
Mayor Crawford just wanted to wish Rodney a happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Where in the heck is Ron? Right over there. Oh, there he is. Like, is he in a secret room or something? Thank you, appreciate it. Mayor, councilors, this item is intergovernmental transfer to transfer the fencing materials that was removed from 421 Hall Road, giving it or proposing to give it to the city of Ruidoso Downs. So they've expressed some interest in those materials to put up a fence at their Riverside Park. Currently, they're experiencing people driving out into the park. They do not have a barrier, and so they're damaging their grass. And for us, that material really isn't, I mean, for our parks, I don't think it's suitable to put anywhere else. So, again, I would recommend disposing of it, and that seems like a good option.
We agree. Okay, consent or regular?
Consent.
Okay.
Thank you.
Rodney, are they picking it up or are we delivering it?
They would be picking it up.
That's even better. Okay.
Good job this weekend. I heard a lot of fun things, good things about all the parks being full and the temporary fields and so, yes, a lot of compliments, so,
I'll pass that along. Thank you.
yes.
Baseball fields look perfect for the little guys, and it was fun to see people out using it. I mean,
North Park was 4 cars deep. I could not believe that they got that many cars into that little park.
Since you all brought it up, I'd like to mention that every time there's a tournament, same like motorcycles, it rains.
Yep.
And our guys, it's really, you don't see it at home. You enjoy the rain, those guys are working their tails off. You're talking very long days, getting up really early in the morning for those fields to be ready at 8 a.m.
Yeah.
And so I just can't say enough about them. It's a pretty tough job that they have, and we'll probably have rain next weekend too.
We'll keep bringing those tournaments.
Yeah. Load up those tournaments. Yeah, but great job on everybody
Yeah.
that did it.
I'll pass it along. Thank you.
Wonderful job. All
for
right.
what it's worth, I think since that field has been opened, the elk seem to have found that as a new place to feed, so I don't see as
Well,
much of them.
I think you're right. They went to the racetrack. Do you see them?
Oh my gosh, that was,
Yeah, they had to hold a race because they didn't know whether the elk were going to come over the fence.
Wow.
yeah, wow.
Now, if you just take the horses down there too, we'd be set.
Well, I think Saturday morning I went past White Mountain and there were 2 lone horses waiting for all the crowds. They were
Yeah,
in the
waiting for
park.
breakfast, yeah.
They were waiting for them.
All right, thank you, Rodney. Item number 8 is a discussion on intergovernmental grant agreement, number 22-624-4000-0068 with the State of New Mexico Aging and Long-Term Services Department for salaries and operational budget items for fiscal year 2021-2022 for the RSVP Community Center Coordinator in the amount of $35,000, no cents. Yes, sir, Anthony?
Good morning, Mayor, councilors. The grant agreement is a yearly agreement that's been going on since 1994. It's for the Retired and Senior Volunteer Program. Helps with salaries, fringe benefits, some supplies for volunteers, and also a lot of recognition that we put on for the volunteers every year. Currently, we have over 200 volunteers. That it's gone up within the last few months. There's been about 40 more volunteers that have gotten onto the program. So things are looking well, and there's 15 volunteer stations all over the county that they help, nonprofit volunteer stations that these volunteers help, and so they save the community a lot of money. It's just a yearly grant that supplements the program. So,
Okay. Questions,
It's a great program.
comments?
Consent.
Thank you, consent. Thank you,
you.
Anthony. Item number 9, discussion on acceptance of final change order number 3 with Roper Construction, Inc. for the deduction of $2,100.94. That's $2,278.21, including gross receipts tax, and closeout of Close Road Bridge replacement project. Yes, sir.
Morning, Mayor, Council. This is just a closeout and final change order for Close Road. The leftover funds were for the leftover monies for the testing.
How did Close Road hold up with the rains?
I went by there yesterday and it actually looked pretty good. Of course, we didn't get much up here except for yesterday afternoon.
Well, thank goodness we didn't get what the
Right.
valley got.
Who?
The valley.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we had several people that got their ranches flooded out.
Yeah, which was just outside Las Cruces. Then they amended the news story to just outside Ruidoso. I didn't know Picacho was that close.
Consent.
Does this then start the warranty
It
period?
already started.
It already started, okay.
Item number 10.
Mayor?
Yes.
I would also like to say that yesterday afternoon late, my neighborhood had very low water pressure, and oh, I hated to call, but apparently I wasn't the only one. But Adam and his guys, they got the water back on. Apparently somebody hit a fire hydrant. And so,
We lost water then too?
It was just low pressure. The guys got it off.
yeah. So thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Item number 10, discussion on award of RFP number 2021-011P to Miller Engineers, Inc., DBA Souder Miller and Associates for the Pine Cliff subdivision, street, water, and sewer system improvements. Yes, ma'am, Karen?
Good morning, Mayor and Councilors. This award was, I should say, the actual, let me start over again. I lost my train of thought. I was thinking of the next item. The RFP was reviewed by the committee members. There was 2 applicants. There was Souder Miller, and there was also Mosen Corbin. Both proposals came in very well written. They were put together very well. The committee did score the Souder Miller as the best proposal to be awarded. This project is consisting of the water, sewer, and streets for the where am I at? Pine Cliff. Yeah, the Pine Cliff subdivision. The water, as you know, has already been designed by Mosen Corbin, so Souder Miller will be incorporating that design and putting together one package for the village so we could go out to bid for a contractor to do that work. So the recommendation is for Souder Miller to be awarded this proposal.
Any questions? Okay, consent or regular? Consent?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm just looking at this, and it looks like there might be a mathematical error in Souder Miller. They have 69 and 57, and the total score, it says 125. 9 and 7 should be a 6.
I have 69 and 67.
I have 57. No, going down for Souder Miller, not going across. 69 plus 57 should be 126, not 125.
You're right. When we put together the scoring, we combined the 3 scores from each evaluator and then divide it, so we combine their scores and then divide it by 3. So that mathematical rounding is an issue, so we can fix that because it does look,
Yeah.
it is obviously wrong.
I mean, it doesn't affect the outcome, but
Right.
just in case somebody wants to go, well, how do we know?
Right.
Okay,
So
I
we
see
will
your
take care of
point.
that.
Yeah.
Okay. Item number 11 is discussion on agreement with Miller Engineering, Inc., DBA Souder Miller and Associates for RFP number 2021-011P Pine Cliff subdivision, street, water, and sewer system improvements.
Mayor, Council, we did receive the proposal from Souder Miller late Friday afternoon. We are reviewing that proposal, their cost proposal, and we'll be entering into negotiations with them and bring it to the council on the 8th.
Okay, any comments? Want it on consent? Okay,
Well, wait a minute. This is the agreement, right?
it's the enter into the discussions for the agreement. It's not the approval of the agreement. Right?
It will be on the agenda for approval.
Right.
It's just discussion today.
It's just to give them the ability.
Right, so if it's the approval, I think it should go under regular, because in this agreement, I'm not seeing anything that has to do with cost or anything. And like Adam said, they're in discussions with them right now,
Yes,
correct?
yes.
So I think it should go under regular rather than consent, because this isn't a complete a complete agreement in front of us. There's possible changes to it.
Right, it's not a complete agreement.
Correct. So, but you're talking about putting this agenda item on consent. So it's going under consent, but we don't have all the information yet.
And we won't have it next week.
You said on the 8th, yes.
We will have it next week?
Yes.
Yes, Mayor, Councilor, as Adam stated earlier, the proposal came in late, it was after 4 on Friday. So we've had to review it, and we're looking at costs, comparisons to previous proposals and work of the same nature. So as soon as we get those negotiations put together and with Sauter Miller, then we'll have a dollar figure for you. So you're correct, it doesn't have one yet. And if we have it in time for the agenda to go to council, we'll take it for your review on Tuesday.
I think we'd have to have it.
Yes,
It wouldn't be for review, it'd be for approval.
Approval.
right, you're correct.
Shouldn't take that long to negotiate that agreement, this is standard process.
Okay, we'll have it ready.
Okay, regular, I agree.
Regular.
Mayor Crawford, members of the council will, once they have it negotiated, we'll have it in the packet on the agenda item there with the actual agreement with the monetary value on that too, the cost.
Okay, thank you. Item number 13, discussion on joint funding agreement, number 21 RGJFA23 with the United States Department of Interior, United States Geological Survey for the operation of the USGS stream flow and precipitation gauges. Yes, sir, Mr. Boyda?
Mayor Crawford, we're on item number 12.
Oh, we are?
Yes.
Well, thank y'all for letting me read that whole thing.
You gave us a good lead in, and they are related, so we figured you were just combining and helping us move along.
It's a little Memorial Day. Lag over.
Snafu.
Okay, item number 12. Discussion on joint funding agreement, number 21 RGJFA 35 with the United States Department of Interior, the Interior, Geological Survey USGS for project titled Periodic Surveys of North Fork Eagle Creek from North Fork Eagle Creek Stream Gauge 08387550 to Eagle Creek below South Fork Stream Gauge 08387600.
Mayor Crawford, councilors, I heard you guys were getting excited about some shorter meetings, so decided to crash your party and throw on seven items on this agenda.
And so this is your executive summary of all 7 items? Is that-
So this first item, so part of our special use permit agreement with the Forest Service obligates us to do a gradient study on Eagle Creek. And so the USGS has set up sampling locations from the North Fork Eagle Creek at the gate by the cabins down to Ski Run Road. And so we've been sampling those for the last 5 years. In May was the last data collection period. This is data analysis and then final report. So in the past, the agreements have typically been a little bit over $16,000. This one is for $8,660. So once we have the final report, the surveys will happen once every 3 years. And so we would expect every 3 years that we'd have about that $16,000 to $17,000 fee. But again, this is an obligation of the special use permit, so we have to do this.
Okay.
Eric, I couldn't find maintaining the gauges. Because I know for many years, we used to go up there where we weren't supposed to.
Mayor Crawford, Councilor Salas, the gauges is the next agenda item.
Oh, okay.
Okay, since the next agenda item seems to have a lot of fervor going on or mistaking an identity, we'll go ahead and go on to the next item, which is.
That's from consent, Mayor?
What's that? Yes.
Yeah.
And then this one is also number 13, discussion on joint funding agreement, number 21, RGJFA 23 with the United States Department of Interior, United States Geological Survey for the operation of USGS stream flow and precipitation gauge. Mr. Boyda.
Mayor Crawford, councilors. So this is our standard yearly agreement to operate the USGS stream flow gauges and then the Buck Mountain precipitation gauge. And so all of these gauges are obligations either through our special use permit with the Forest Service, water right permits, or settlement agreements with individuals. And so the total gauge operation costs are $98,000, but we partner with the USGS and the Interstate Stream Commission for paying for these, and so they pay for $44,628. So our tab for these gauges is $53,425.
Gum. Expensive gauge.
Question the math again.
Okay. Any questions? Anybody have any particulars, consent, or?
Well, again, mine, who's responsible for keeping the gauges clean or the debris out of the creek where they
So,
measure at?
We work with the USGS to clean up major sediment deposition, but the USGS comes out there once every month, and they'll clean up woody debris and trash and other things.
Okay.
Okay. Consent or regular?
Consent.
I would say
Consent.
consent.
Okay, item number 14. Discussion on award of IFB number 2020-007B to General Hydronics LLC, an agreement for the construction of Fault H-1979-S10 and Brown H-1497-S well improvements in the amount of $1,349,018.87, including gross receipts tax. Yes, sir.
Mayor Crawford, councilors. So this is for our phase 2 of our Eel Creek Wellfield expansion project. So these 2 wells have already been drilled. This project would rehab them, bring them up to NMED codes, and get them equipped and hooked onto our system. This project would be partially funded through the Water Trust Board. So we've been awarded a Water Trust Board grant for $501,000. And then we have a Water Trust Board loan component for $613,000. And then the remaining balance would be paid out of SGRT. And we've budgeted that in the current fiscal year. So the contractor, we had 2 companies bid for the project, General Hydronics and Smithco. General Hydronics was the firm that constructed the Apple Orchard in Middle Gavilan project. So they're really familiar with this style that we're building. They're basically doing the same project at different wells. And so we had a very good working relationship with them in the last project, so we're really excited to work with them again on another.
Okay, questions?
Eric, remind me, did we already approve the Water Trust Board loan?
No, we haven't gotten any of the final paperwork yet.
Okay. Do we know any of the terms, like how long we have to pay it back?
That would come in so we're only obligated to have
Councillor Coughlin, Mayor, this project was already budgeted in SGRT for the full amount. So what will happen is when we do get the processing of the paperwork and everything, and the project is done, we will actually use the monies that we had already set aside for the project and pay the loan off. So in reality, this was just our way to leverage the funding that we already have in order to get some grant funds.
Got it, okay. Okay, thank you, that,
And it does present an opportunity for possible loan forgiveness pending on the availability of funds with the state. So that's why we were interested in working with them on this loan process, even though we didn't need the actual loan.
right, okay, great. That cleared up a whole lot. It's like, okay, thank you.
Consent or regular? Consent. Item number 15, discussion on award of RFP number 2021-012P for Henninghausen, Olson, and McCray, LLP, for professional legal services as water rights attorney for the village of Ruidoso. Mr. Boyda.
Mayor Crawford, councilors. So we advertised for professional legal services for water rights. We had the same firm that we've been working with before apply. We deemed them responsive and are recommending them for award for this RFP.
Any questions, comments?
And there, no additional bidders?
Explain to him why there's usually not asked the same question.
Well, I'm, yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, there wasn't any additional bidders, and a lot of that just ties to, there's not an immense amount of water rights attorneys in the state. And so, pending on our typical opposition in hearings, they have like a non-compete clause, is that what it's called?
Conflict of interest
Yeah,
or whatever, they
so-
may have represented somebody that's,
So we're excited to keep working with AJ Olson. He's done a great job. AJ worked as our primary lead for a while, and then Alvin Jones took over for him, but AJ's come back with Alvin Jones passing away. But we've been very happy with the work that AJ's been doing for us.
Mayor and Eric, you did mention that they also have another attorney that's going to start working on it as well?
Yes, so they added a new partner, McCrea, and he's starting to work with AJ. So AJ will still be the lead, but we're going to bring in other attorneys so that if we have an attorney that leaves or has to leave the organization, we have somebody who can come in and has some base knowledge about Ruidoso and doesn't have to start from scratch. And AJ was able to transition because he used to work for us, and so it was easy for him to pick it back up. But there's nobody else at the firm that has that base knowledge of Ruidoso. So we're going to try to build up that capacity in their legal firm.
Makes great sense.
Consent?
Yes.
Item 16, discussion on contracts for goods and services with Henninghausen, Olson, and you said McCrea or McCray?
Yep, sorry, McCray.
Which one is it?
It's McCray.
You know how I am. I mispronounce everything. I just want to be consistent. McCray LLP for professional legal services and task order RFP for 2021-012P-01 for legal services and support for water rights and other water resource issues in the amount of $80,000, including gross receipts tax.
So Mayor Crawford, this is the contract for services and then the task order for legal representation. So this allows me to be able to easily work with their staff whenever I have any legal questions, or we're still cleaning up some of the final components of some of the water right leases. Let's see here. On the contract, AJ's attached his standard government fee structure. So AJ represents some other municipalities and government entities, so he just attached his standard rate. It is a little bit higher than the last 4-year agreement, but like I said, it matches all of his other government contracts.
Okay. Consent?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Item 17, discussion on presentation for proposal for energy-saving audits for the village facilities and recommendations for funding services. Yes, sir, Mr. Boyda.
Mayor Crawford, councilors. So Manager Dodge and I have been working at exploring solar and other energy efficiency structures at both the wastewater treatment plant and then also other village facilities. So we had Dale Lyons from Sautermill and Associates give a presentation to the Joint Use Board this last month to discuss about different funding sources and opportunities that we might have. And so we've prepared a contract for the JUB for Dale to do this audit on us and then to propose recommended projects and cost and funding sources for building a solar array in conjunction with the wastewater treatment plant. And so this would be a similar process for the rest of the village's facilities that it would include a audit and kind of determination of which direction is best to go contract-wise. So there's a lot of funds available for installing structures where we can get approximately 50% of it paid through grants. And so he's going to propose a process to evaluate everything and kind of discuss what are our funding opportunities for, either upgrading our HVAC systems to be more efficient, to installing solar or other renewable energy structures.
So he's going to have an amount for this, for his services?
No, he's going to just discuss. He's going to I've given him the details about our facilities. He's going to provide some recommendations. And from that, he'll develop a cost proposal if you guys choose that you want us to proceed and partner with Sautermiller to kind of facilitate this process.
We're not going to have those big windmills.
No.
Was he, Eric, Mr. Chairman, Eric, was he also going to look at the idea, I remember from those discussions, that the wastewater treatment plant was on 3 separate meter systems. And the question arose, well, my understanding was that each solar system is specific to 1 meter. So then the question arose, well, would there be benefit to consolidating 2 of the meter, basically the 2 meter systems coming into the plant? He indicated at that time the 3rd meter was on a separate rate and didn't know if it would be that beneficial to combine all 3 as opposed to combining 2 or not. Do you kind of know where we're at with that, or?
Dale's given us a cost proposal to do that evaluation, but that would be part of his
Total presentation?
That would be part of his work that he's going to be doing. So at the JUB meeting, you guys told us to start developing a cost proposal with Dale. So the next JUB meeting, we'll present it to do an agreement with him, and then he'll do the audit and evaluate those meters and provide us all the recommendations and the direction that we should go for that solar installation. So he would evaluate if we can rewire some of those separate meters at the joint use, or at the wastewater treatment plant.
I know it'd be no small event because you'd have to put a whole new service in. I mean, to meter it independently versus the 2 that are there, but I just thought it odd that we've got that out there. And I know he's looking at, or in his presentation, looked at which meter was drawing the most current for the use and time. I know those are, and I think they're 480 volt pumps that are out there, and there's a whole string of them. So
Yes.
you're pulling a lot of amperage, so that was my question. And I guess that combines then with Mr. Williams and his property and potential use of that land. 5 acres, I think it was, that we needed minimally to put in.
Minimum, something like that, yeah.
Put in that number of panels. Okay, well, that's it for me, thanks.
He wants to rent the entire 10 acres, I believe.
Okay, so we want this one on regular?
I would.
Okay. Regular items. Item number 18. Discussion on draft scope of work for enterprise fund master plans and rate study requests for proposals. Number 18, go ahead, Mr. Boyda.
Mayor Crawford, councilors. So if you remember at the last workshop meeting, staff and Manager Dodge talked with you about our proposal for the master planning process and rate study. So we were requested by you guys to start developing the scope of services. And so attached to this agenda memo is the draft scope of services for the RFP. And it's just an open discussion for you guys if you had any questions or concerns. If there wasn't any issues, we would move forward with the RFP process and start compiling the packet and get this advertised.
Now, in the solid waste, we are including maybe a different type of pickup and servicing to the rollaways and all that. We are actually looking into that.
So after our meeting last week, I did kind of review it again, and I think we can change some of the language to make that a little bit more clear. So I will make that edit to this draft scope.
Okay.
So what do you mean by rollaways? We're gonna put big roll-offs and have people bring their trash to it?
No, like the big heavy-duty single ones that you have in other communities where they pull it up by the garage or by their house, beside the house, fill it up and then roll it out on dumper days.
Like construction, the big roll-offs for.
Well, no, it's this big, this tall, and you put it up by your house or in your garage.
Poly carts. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
Roll-off, I'm thinking the big construction dumpster.
Rollaways or
Okay.
whatever.
Yeah.
We'll have to get that terminology, if you will, put that in there for me. So anyway, just to see, because of some of the concerns that have been raised around town with trying to pick up, and then we've had Chief Gold working with Jerry Parsons over at Solid Waste about providing police coverage, sometimes backing in and out on busy corners like Sudworth and Meacham, those areas getting in and out. What can we do to make it safer, better, more attractive looking? So it's just another way to, since we're here, we're gonna look and see what options we have.
I don't understand the polycart. So it wouldn't be a place where, like on Gavilan, where you could just go and dump your stuff?
No, well, I mean, and that's a possibility too, but what this is intended to do would be get rid of like on Paradise Canyon, where you don't really have room, they're sitting right at the road and the people that are dumping them are standing in the road. That we would, possibility, this is all
Sure.
discussion, just get rid of those. And the people in those homes would have a poly cart that on dumper day, they would drag it out.
Got it.
Oh, like they do in the city?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, where they have a Tuesday pickup or whatever. it is.
Yes,
Unless they're absentee owners.
unless they're
Only on the
absentee owners, then they won't be dumping it at all. And,
They'll go
Mayor,
dump somewhere else.
Counselor, we are also gonna be looking at the convenience station as well.
where we had talked about that before,
Yes.
and having a place where people
Yes.
could go, and, because we are still having a lot of dumpers, and then just things like that.
Yeah, it's all terminology for me.
You mean like the four big truck tires that were set next to the recycling bin on the other side here?
Yeah. You think that's not where those go?
No, right next to it. Now, the only thing with polycarts is I think that, it's something to think about. However, I think we'd have to add another bear mess person, because those are gonna be all over the place.
And those are all discussions
Yeah.
to be had.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially for
But I-
Paradise, there is that's such a narrow road.
Right. But I like the idea that we're thinking. We're trying to come up with all kinds of different ideas.
Alternatives.
Well,
Yep.
and, because every year there's so many calls in the summer, and we do have people that hit those dumpsters when traffic is getting thick through there. They catch them, they clip them just a little bit.
And alcohol may or may not be a factor.
May or may not be. But where I really get concerned is the people that live there when they're sending me videos of them trying to dump their trash and they can't get it done.
And some of those hooks are right on the fog line, so it gets kind of
It is
tight.
That's the
dangerous.
big discussion we're gonna have on that. And that's just
Okay,
one
great.
aspect of this. It's pretty encompassing on all the water and, because we had talked about a study being started a long time ago, lake studies and whatnot, so these are gonna be done in, what's the word? Simultaneously, the master plan and the rate studies, is that correct? Okay. Discussion or regular? Are you gonna have a consent?
Discussion.
Regular?
Regular, yeah.
Okay. Then, are you gonna have anything else, Ronald? Ron? I want to appreciate Ron because he was working, he brought some stuff out Friday or Saturday to the track. But I know that he was out yesterday in preparation of the rain to make sure that the grates in Midtown were clear of debris, that there wasn't any trash or pine needles or whatever, so that we didn't have any flooding. So I
Mayor
appreciate
Crawford, members of the council, just even with the new sidewalk improvements, there wasn't a lot of anything coming down that was like pine needles or any type of other debris, so it stayed clean. So even with that heavy rain, it really washed down the drop inlets very well. So we were, and I know I drove by the Allsups there, or by the radio station there. It was hailing and that whole area there was just got hit really hard. So Mayor, we do have for the regular meeting, we're going to have the first part of the regular meeting is going to take place at the convention center, and we'll have two craft distillery liquor license, and that is for the Ponderosa Spirits. We'll have those two items at the convention center. When that meeting adjourns, we're going to come back here to our new home, our temporary home.
What time is that one?
1 o'clock.
Okay, the first one is at 1?
1 o'clock, yes.
Okay.
So when that meeting is adjourned, we will then head back to the Horton Complex and we'll reconvene. We're calling this our rescheduled meeting. This will begin at 2 p.m. And then we will begin business on that meeting. We do have items on the consent. We have the approval of the governing body minutes. We have a ratification of consent to a sublease real property. This is with the Ruidoso Snow Play and ice skating to Screaming Eagle Enterprises. And then we have another ratification. This is the memorandum of agreement. This is between the New Mexico Department of Transportation and the Village of Ruidoso, and this is on the sidewalk project. So we did receive a fully executed memorandum of agreement, and thanks to Francisco for pushing this, the district engineer for helping us get this approved. And we do have the project almost completed. And then we'll have introduction of new village employees. We'll have new appointments to the boards and commission that the mayor is going to present. We'll have the manager's report. And then we are going to have another regular item. Chief Gold received this late on Friday. I've added it to the meeting. And this is regarding the grant agreement between the Village of Ruidoso and the State of New Mexico Department of Finance Administration. This is on the Enhanced 911 Act grant program. So I was going to have Chief Gold, if he wanted just to provide some information on this. We just received it late on Friday, and we have it on the regular item.
Thank you, Ron. Mayor and Council, I apologize. We got this very late on the 28th. Yeah, of course, it's just I don't know if you want to do it in a consent, but it's just a normal agreement between DFA Enhanced 911 Services between obviously the Village of Ruidoso and Mescalero Apache Reservation. This grant is for the amount of $815,490. This is for reimbursement of travel, training, and other geographic information systems, software, and hardware.
815,000?
Yes, 815,490.
So how does that work in the scheme of things again?
It's basically just a reimbursement for training, any kind of hardware, software that needs to be fixed and enhanced. It's for a 1 year, 12-month fiscal year cycle. Katie was supposed to be here to give you the specifics on the E911 enhancement stuff, but because we got it on
You
late.
say reimbursement, we've spent money on this already?
Yes, it's a yearly grant, right, Judy? Sorry, I'm not too familiar with how this grant has been spent
I'm
in the
obviously
future.
lost, I don't know if it's,
Mayor and council, the initial equipment was funded from a DFA, DWI, not DWI, E911 grant. So they handled the purchase and everything through their facets. And so I believe, I'm not sure what the amount of that grant was.
I'm still lost, I'm not sure of anything. So when you say equipment, what equipment are we talking about? We're not talking about the PSAP equipment, that was a different funding operation. Are you talking about what?
Wasn't it the computers and all the displays and stuff like that? The actual system?
Mayor Crawford, members of the council, this one here also listed, didn't it list for the purchase of a new generator and all that equipment within this grant agreement also? We'll have this as a regular item so that we can have better explanation on this. Like I said, we just received it on, this is the annual agreement from Department of Finance.
Mayor, I haven't seen it, but I believe, we did send in a funding request for the generator and help with the antenna and relocation of the E911 equipment and whatnot, so.
Well, that's just a lot of money, that's awesome.
It's an annual, but it's not that much, right?
No, and I believe also it's, we have an annual maintenance agreement that's paid out of this also for the PSAP, for all of that also.
Correct, and it's all broken down in the packet, sorry.
Okay, so we'll have this on discussion,
Yes.
just to highlight it, but that's a lot of money.
That is.
Okay. I just wonder what we gotta do for that money. She works hard for her money. I saw the TV show, I don't wanna work any harder.
I think this is where we called them around and they had said that they would,
That's
help us out with
correct.
this.
Well, we'll have better explanation at the regular meeting. I just wanted to, it is placed, have it on the regular, as a regular item, so.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Chief.
Yeah.
And that's all I had, Mayor.
Okay. And then we'll have closed session. We have one today.
Mayor, if I may, Ron, I think we're still waiting. We did talk to Donnie Quintana last week, and he said that we would have our junior bill grant this week or so. If we do get that, I'd like to add that on so we can move forward with that.
Absolutely, that's at 1.8 million or so.
This is the junior bill. It's the 115,000 that Zach gave us for City Hall.
Okay.
So we're just waiting on that last piece to fund that second part or that phase.
And then when we have some discussion, do you think we'll have all the guidance out on that 1.8 recovery money yet? On what we can spend it on?
Mayor, I've read through the guidance and the state has submitted their plan to the Treasury, but they're pretty tight-lipped exactly what it's gonna be recommended to be used for. So we still haven't got, all the communities that are under 50,000 in population, the money's sent directly to the state. The state submits a plan to the Treasury and then they'll let us know. But, I still haven't seen anything. I think we're still at least a couple of weeks out, if not 30 days.
Yeah, because that's what they had, wasn't it, 30 or 60?
The Treasury had 60 days to release that information. They went a little bit beyond that, and then they sent that guidance to the state. The state had to submit a plan within 30 days, and they've done so. So we're just waiting to hear. Excuse me, but there is 1.8 million that is dedicated to the village of Ruidoso. It could be used for infrastructure, for COVID response, for broadband. And when I say infrastructure, I'm talking about water, wastewater, or economic development projects.
Is there going to be anything else that you've seen that's coming out for hospitality and other closely related businesses? That's what I've been getting phone calls on. Have you seen anything on that?
I think some of the people are looking to use it for business relief as well. But, I'm not too sure what is in the plan.
And if during the manager's report, if we can touch on the cannabis outreach program, on the survey that we'll be taking and what methods we're going to be working into to have public input discussion? And so,
I can have Samantha and possibly Carrie give a presentation on the process.
I would like that too, because I think a lot of people, I mean, I've heard mixed messages. A lot of people think June 30th or July 1st, it goes into effect. And so we need to know that.
If I'm not mistaken, I think Zach probably has that information, and it's, the legalization goes into effect on June 30th, if I'm not mistaken, but the commercialization of it doesn't go into effect until
March.
December 31st or January 1st or whatnot.
Okay.
And for updates, the Regulation and Licensing Department, under the act, there's a new division of RLD called the Cannabis Control Division. And I was, at our pre-meeting last week, I clicked on their website, and they're starting to add more and more information on that. And it gives a timeline of how they're gonna do everything, setting up the board, rulemaking, all of those things. You guys will probably wanna keep an eye on that. And you can sign up for updates too, so.
Okay, if you'll be willing to, ready to just give us a little talk on where we're at that particular moment. Because people seem to think that it's gonna be like a beer and wine license, anybody can get one that meets certain criteria. And is that the case? If we don't know yet, we'll just have to put that out there.
Just one question I got on that, as far as the licensing go, I've had, of course, some business owners contact me about this, but is the licensing, do you happen to have an insight into, are those licenses going to be, like, say, geographically specific to a municipality, or is that going to be a statewide? You know, say, if somebody gets a license in the state of New Mexico, that they can apply that license to any municipality within that state, or is that targeted that you have to apply for a certain municipality or area?
And most of that stuff's gonna be determined in the rulemaking, so, and I'm just, on that website, I was just telling you about, it has the timeline, and it says no later than September 1st of this year, they will create the Cannabis Regulatory Advisory Committee, so everything's still just kinda coming together. And just like when any agency creates rules pursuant to a statute, you know, there'll be public notice and participation by the public and before they actually adopt those rules.
And then Mayor, so then we, after those rules come out, then after the survey and we get your committee together, then we'll start kind of looking at what the rules for Ruidoso is going to be?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the proposal, to get plenty of input and then see what the state puts out and how that affects Ruidoso, and then how do we operate within those rules.
Okay.
But in the meantime, it's gonna be legal to possess, you just can't buy it.
Yeah.
Can you grow?
So you can grow it.
Chicken and egg deal.
Yeah, it's like.
Where'd you get that? Did you buy it? Okay, and then we'll have closed session with discussion on limited personnel matters, discussion subject to attorney-client privileges. Then
That's actually for today.
that's for today.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So would the mayor like a motion?
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we move into closed session. Item 1, discussion of limited personnel matters citing statute 1015-1H2, NMSA 1978. Item 2, discussion subject to the attorney-client privilege pertaining to threatened or pending litigation in which the Village of Ruidoso is or may become a participant, citing statute 1015-1H7, NMSA 1978. And finally, item number 3, discussion of the purchase, acquisition, and/or disposal of real property and/or water rights by the Village of Ruidoso, citing statute 1015-1H8, NMSA 1978, and I so move. Any action taken as a result of the closed session, we brought it back into open session.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Roll call, please, Mr. Senna.
Counselor Jackson,
Aye.
Counselor Coughlin,
Aye.
Counselor Cornelius,
Aye.
Counselor Salas,
Aye.
Counselor Letterman,
Aye.
Counselor Eby.
Aye.
Thank
Mayor,
you.
if we can invite Samantha and Eric to stay.
Okay?
People on Zoom, anybody on Zoom get there?
Not though.
Mayor, we got 5 minutes.
Rodney.
Nope. Thank you, everybody on Zoom for attending. We'll see you see you next time. Well, I tell you what.
I think we need to make a resolution that we do not schedule a meeting right after a 3-day weekend.
Actually, it was like a 4-day weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It was a big one. But yeah, I'm just rum dumb. That's.
Well, that's better than being bored down there.